morning and welcome to Fox 7 News. Today we're going to talk about some issues. Here's Hanya with the latest report and the Cold War.
Just recently, President Eisenhower gave the CIA permission to secretly train Cuban exiles for an invasion of Cuba to overthrow Castro. Unfortunately, our airstrike had failed to knock out the Cuban Air Force, and when our main commando unit landed, it faced 25,000 Cuban troops backed up by Soviet tanks, and luckily JFK accepted the blame. On October 14th, our airplanes took photographs that showed the Soviet missile bases in Cuba. President Kennedy informed the American public that any missile attack from Cuba would trigger an all-out war with the Soviet Union. Our Navy prepared to quarantine Cuba to prevent Soviet ships, which have a possibility of carrying more missiles, from reaching their destination. Now going to Isabel with information about the assassinations.
It was a sunny day a couple of days ago in Dallas, Texas, when President Kennedy and the First Lady arrived. They had come to mend political fences with members of the Democratic Party. The president mentioned he didn't expect the warm welcome and applause that he got. As they got in the back seat of an open-air limousine, everybody heard gunshots. Such a tragedy. The President of the United States had been repeatedly shot in the head. Kennedy was raced to the nearest hospital, but it was too late. Another president had been assassinated. Another tragic death was the death of Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King was famous for his I Have a Dream speech and his nonviolent protests. He was a nonviolent civil rights leader, which makes his death really ironic. The King was only 39 when he was shot by a white man named James Earl Ray. Another African-American civil rights leader who was assassinated and was a member of the Nation of Islam was Malcolm X. Malcolm X quickly rose and became one of the organization's most influential leaders. Recently, he became disillusioned with the Nation of Islam and its leader, Elijah Muhammad. Recently, he was shot in the head multiple times by 3 Nation of Islam members. Some of these assassinations begin to have conspiracies behind them and are yet to be resolved.
We have here the bottoms, which consisted in capri pants or skinny pants that were also called drain pipe pants. We have the dresses, which consisted in funny and cool prints. We also have the blouse that were feminine and in style, and we have the bubble sleeves that started to be in style again. We have the shoes, which also consisted in stilettos and beetle boots. We have also the Jackie Kennedy hat, which was really important. We have polo shirts, which are the really important sports clothing. Some great fashion inspirations today, according to young people, are Twiggy, Diana Ross, and Sophia Loren. Try something new if you want to change your style. Don't forget to choose bright colors, and you'll always be in style.
Currently, the British band from England propelled rock music into the mainstream America. The band was made of 4 youths from working-class Liverpool, England. They arrived in America in '64 and immediately caught the country's attention. In August 1969, 400,000 people showed up for a free music and art festival called the Woodstock. This festival took place on a farm upstate in New York and represented the '60s movement of peace, love, and represented some higher cultural cause. For 3 days during this festival, the most popular bands and musicians performed, including Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, The Grateful Dead, and Jefferson Airplane. During this time period, hippies and other activists used music for political expression. Despite the rebellious media, there were also some other TV shows that developed around this time period, including Sesame Street, The Addams Family, and Star Trek, the original series.
Thank you, Hanya. Women entered the workforce. The idea of feminism was a theory that women should have economic and political equal right with men. One of the most important women activists was Betty Friedan. She created NATO, supports women's goals. Groups began around the country, for example, New York Radical Women. They staged a demonstration and threw bras and crowned a sheep Miss America. The Equal Rights Amendment gave women a fair treatment just like men did. One important journalist was Gloria Steinem. She was a journalist, political activist, and supporter of the women's liberation movement. She made her voice heard on subject of equality. The new right and the women's movement clashed most dramatically over the era. The women's movement altered society in countless ways, transforming their attitudes towards careers and families. Betty Friedan began to use her slogan, "Women make policy, not coffee." This slogan, displayed by her, was used in the National Women Political Caucus. That wraps up our morning news on some important hairy issues today. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.